Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the inauguration ceremony of the International Week 2022 of University of Peradeniya, organized by the International Relations Office of University of Peradeniya. Internationalization has become a key component in the changing landscape of higher education as a means to increase its global engagement for staff and students of higher education institutes. Sri Lanka too must reposition its international profile in its higher education system to enhance its global visibility to emerge as a key hub for knowledge and learning in the world. In order to bring this to common agenda, the International Relations Office, University of Peradeniya, came up with the concept of International Week 2022. To commence the inauguration ceremony auspiciously, let us now join in lighting the traditional oil lamp, and I would like to invite the following dignitaries to join us in this customary tradition. First and foremost, His Excellency Michael Appleton, New Zealand High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Professor M.D. Lamawansa, Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, Professor W.M.T. Madhujit, Deputy Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, Professor Don Eliseo Lucero Presno III, Director, Global Health Focus, followed by Dr. E.M.P.C.S. Ekanayaka, the Dean, Faculty of Arts, representing the Deans of the Faculties, Professor C.N.R.A. Alas, Director, International Relations Office, Dr. Damayanti Dasanayaka, Director of the University Research Council, Professor Udaya Vitarana, representing the Management Committee members of the International Relations Office. Be pleased grace to the traditional oil lamp. Thank you. May we please rise to the National University Anthem. It is said by the architect Sir Patrick Abercrombie that no university in the world would have such a setting. A university which bears lush greenery vegetation and mist-clad mountains. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take a few minutes to enjoy the beauty of the University of Peradeniya. First, I would like to invite most respectfully Professor M.D. Lamawansa, Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, to deliver the welcome address.
A very good morning. It is a pleasure and honor for me to welcome all of you to this very important event of the university's annual calendar. Chief guest of this event, His Excellency Michael Appleton, New Zealand's High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, who has wealth of experience working in different parts of the world, and more specifically in Delhi, who has been a very useful supporter of the University of Peradeniya through the links that the embassy has helped us to establish. And he was here a few months ago, and it's the second time within a span of few months, and we meet in Colombo for different at different functions, and thank you very much. Despite all your busy schedule, Your Excellency's presence here this morning. Don Lucero Prisno, who is a world-renowned expert in global health and a researcher and a promoter of research, and who is a chief editor of BMC, and is here and from Chicago. And we are going to listen to him, and there are many aspects that he will be discussing briefly with us this morning as to how to propagate research culture and establish international links. Of course, Dr. Nanda Gunawardhana, and who was here earlier and who is working for another organization in Colombo, and welcome back to your native place, Nanda. And colleagues and the media representatives, ladies and gentlemen. University of Peradeniya has been trying over the decades to instill international intercultural and global dimensions to its purposes, which includes the academic research and also the service to the community. That being the internationalization process that the university has embarked on, and this year, C.N.R.A has taken another step to organize an international week with many activities included in. This will help, no doubt, to further our links which is already established and looking for better links to help this university to take to the next level. And it is important that we have such top-end invitees, the caliber of Excellency the Ambassador of New Zealand, and also Don representing wider network of organizations across the globe. We are internationally recognized and known. We are among the first 500 to 600 universities in the world, but that is not good enough for us. There is a huge potential that we have not used yet, and I'm very happy that the heads of the departments and the divisions and the deans who are here are working tirelessly to achieve that goal. For that purpose, the departments are trying to establish very strong links with respected departments in other parts of the world. We have established 8 multidisciplinary research teams funded at the beginning of this year, and we will be funding another 8 teams the next year. The aim being to fortify our interfaculty and interdepartmental research abilities and to forge links with the outside world using that as a nucleus. We have been successful in joint grant applications, mainly for research purposes, but not that much for capacity building. And with the consent of the Council, hitherto unattended area of grant tracking and promotion and applying, separate office will be established next week after the Council meeting on Sunday. That will help all of us to work internally with different entities and also with the external world. Some of the suggestions that you have already made Don, will be extremely useful for this entity to further our ambitions. Commercialization is taking place, although slowly. I think we have taken very strong steps to work with the industry so as to translate our research for meaningful outcomes to the benefit of the society. We are working with established universities around the globe to bring in best academic practices. And that comes through exchanges and interactions, and also the opportunity created through these exchanges and interactions for our staff to visit those better organized universities in the world. We know that the technology will be the primary determinant factor in progress of our universities and education across the globe, and including universities such as ours. And this is another area that we have to invest both our time, energy, and money, and the international links. Keeping these things in mind, C.N.R.A has organized this week. I'm sure there's going to be very useful discussions during this week, contributed to by experts in the fields from different parts of the world. And it is my responsibility and the pleasure to thank the C.N.R.A headed by Professor Alice for organizing this event. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to take the opportunity to invite our chief guest, His Excellency Michael Appleton, New Zealand High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, to grace the occasion with a few words.
Well, thank you, Vice Chancellor, for those kind words, and thank you to everyone for being here today. It's a great honour as New Zealand's first High Commissioner based in Sri Lanka to grace this occasion, and indeed it's a great honour to be back at the University of Peradeniya. Peradeniya is a very special place for the country of New Zealand for a number of reasons. One is that we've had only 2 Prime Ministers of New Zealand have official visits to Sri Lanka in our country's history, those being Walter Nash in 1958 and John Key in 2016. And on both occasions, those Prime Ministers visited Peradeniya, both so that they could plant a tree at the Botanic Gardens close by, and also in the case of John Key, so he could visit the University of Peradeniya. And the fact that our Prime Ministers came here is an indication of mutual interest that your university and that our country have in certain areas in education and then in agriculture, which I'll get into shortly. But before talking about Peradeniya and New Zealand, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the education ties between our 2 countries. We're very conscious that the ties that bind 2 countries like Sri Lanka and New Zealand start with young people, and for decades now, some of the best and brightest of Sri Lankans have come to New Zealand to study at our universities, and indeed many University of Peradeniya alumni have travelled to New Zealand to study, and I think that's been a trend that has been beneficial to both of our countries. It's benefited New Zealand because we have been enriched by the presence of Sri Lankan students, and I like to think that the quality of the education that Sri Lankans who've come to New Zealand and returned has benefited society here as well. That began really in the 1950s when, under the Colombo Plan, New Zealand provided a large number of scholarships to Sri Lankan students to come to New Zealand, and that flow of students continues today. New Zealand only has 8 universities, so our university system is a state monopoly. We have 8 universities. No other institutions are allowed to call themselves universities. There's no such thing as private universities in New Zealand, and one thing that means is that the quality of the education you get in New Zealand is guaranteed, in the sense that all of our universities are ranked in the top 3% of universities in the world, and you therefore can, Sri Lankan parents who send their children to New Zealand for a university education can feel comfortable about the quality of what they are getting. I suppose the other thing to say about that is that at the moment, New Zealand and Sri Lankan educational institutions are building more and more links with one another to make it easier for Sri Lankans to study in New Zealand. So oftentimes what these arrangements mean is that a Sri Lankan student can start their education in Sri Lanka, maybe do their first year or 2 here before moving across to New Zealand to complete the qualification. That has the benefit of parents being able to keep an eye on their children for longer, but also financially it is more affordable. In terms of links between New Zealand and the University of Peradeniya, there were two really that I wanted to highlight. One is in the area of veterinary training, and the other is in the area of combating the carbon, the climate change, or the emissions from the greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture. So on that first one, Massey University in New Zealand is New Zealand's to deliver a world-leading and complex curriculum and pedagogy change project here at the University of Peradeniya's veterinary medicine and animal science faculty. And that substantive change that was embraced by the university here has led to an enhanced undergraduate veterinary curriculum, but also significant changes into how veterinary medicine is taught and how students interact with industry stakeholders. This activity was funded by the New Zealand Development Program. The New Zealand government was worth several millions of dollars, and its chief aim was to improve the teaching of veterinary science here at Peradeniya, with an emphasis on increasing the numbers of veterinarians in dairy production. This was part of an effort by the New Zealand government more generally in the area of dairy development in Sri Lanka. You'll probably know that New Zealand has exported to Sri Lanka for many decades considerable volumes of dairy products, predominantly milk powder. At some point in that process, we thought that it was important to start to give back to the Sri Lankan dairy industry and to try to build the productivity and efficiency and profitability of the Sri Lankan dairy industry, and especially when it comes to products related to the products that we have a specialty in, whether they be milk or cheese or yogurt or whatever. And so our efforts, there have been a range of projects that we've undertaken as the New Zealand government on that to help develop the Sri Lankan dairy industry, and the one with Peradeniya is one of which we are especially proud. The second area I just wanted to highlight was a climate change related project. So the New Zealand government launched in 2009 the Global Research Alliance on Agricultural Greenhouse Gases. One problem that New Zealand has is that a very significant portion of our carbon emissions come from agriculture, and it is quite difficult to reduce your agriculture-based emissions, more difficult than, say, changing modes of transport, for example. And so we have put a considerable effort into the work around technologies and implementation around how do you reduce the greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture. And so we launched this Global Research Alliance, which was aimed really at trying to ensure greater collaboration for researchers all around the world who are focused on this issue, so that we can get better outcomes. And Sri Lanka became a member of this alliance in 2013, and one of the projects that has been funded under this alliance has been a collaboration involving New Zealand, the Ministry of Agriculture here, and then the National Institute of Post-Harvest Management here, with the University of Peradeniya. We're looking for further ways to cooperate with the University of Peradeniya on both of these issues, both veterinary science and greenhouse gas emissions related to agriculture, because we think both collaborations have delivered great results for both countries. But those really are just two examples of the general point I wanted to make, which was that we're very excited about being present now in Sri Lanka. Our High Commission now is about 18 months old. And as we do so, the purpose of our investment here in this new High Commission is to try to build up the connections that we have with Sri Lanka. Education is an area that we're keen to invest more in, and that our universities are keen to invest more in, and the University of Peradeniya is a very obvious partner in those cooperative efforts, given our history of cooperation, which has been fruitful. I wish you all of the best for your International Week. I hope it goes really well, and I look forward to further visits and further engagements with the university and its prestigious academics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next item on the agenda is the guest speech. I would like to invite, most respectfully, Professor Don Eliseo, Lucero Presno III, Editor-in-Chief, Public Health Challenges, Faculty Member, London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, Director, Global Health Focus, Visiting Professor in Global Health, Taipei Medical University, Research Professor in Global Health, Wuhan University, Adjunct Professor in Global Health, Mahidol University, to deliver the guest speech.
Good morning, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure to come to your university. I have been hearing a lot about it. As a global health person, I have been hearing about your beautiful campus, and it is indeed a pleasure to be here. In fact, I have been meeting a number of your graduates in Bhutan, the medical doctors who are now serving the government of Bhutan. They always tell me about how beautiful your campus is. I always go to the other university in the capital. I'm more familiar with them, and I'm very happy that I've been invited here. Vice Chancellor Professor Lamawansa, His Excellency the New Zealand's High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Michael Appleton, and members of the academe and the faculty. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. I have a number of missions why I am here in your university. Tomorrow, I will run a research strategy workshop on how to make the university excellent in the context of research. That is my task with Wiley and with BMC. I am the editor-in-chief of Public Health Challenges. I'm also the deputy editor-in-chief of BMC's Global Health Research and Policy, which is one of the top journals in the field. One of my initiatives is to get as many less researched countries, fewer research faculty members, to get them doing more research and how to navigate the scientific landscape of publishing. So that one of the major questions you will be asking is how to navigate the expensive APCs or publication fees, which would now be as much as $10,500 if you publish for Nature, which is part of BMC. So that will be one of the things that we will be discussing in our strategies, in developing the strategies tomorrow in the workshop for those who are attending. So I go a lot to many different countries, to many different continents of the world, where I deal with many universities. And I'm very happy to see that your university has one of the most beautiful campuses, and your country is the most green probably in the world. Wherever I go, it's always a lot of plants, including the campus. I was talking with your Vice Chancellor. The only problem with a very green campus in a rainy climate is there's always a lot of grasses, and you always cut them, prune them, and that will be a lot of work for those who are doing that. So I am tasked to navigate on how the university will become excellent through research. I do agree that research is one of the core functions of the university. All universities now are international. You have no escape. It's a highly globalized world. Publications, there's no such a thing as local journals. I know you have journals. That is one thing we have to navigate, whether they should be with Scopus, Web of Science, PubMed, Medline, index in these top indexing companies or organizations, and how they link with the ranking of the universities. So I'm not going to teach tomorrow research methods in a one-day workshop. I'm going to teach strategies having worked for these companies, sitting in editorial boards, sitting in Scopus committees, so on and so forth, there is a link on why universities get ranked very highly internationally. And what's the purpose of this? I do understand we have a love-hate relationship with ranking. When you are on top, you love it. When you are not there, you hate it and you don't like ranking, right? You're all laughing. I also understand that a number of you from the faculty members are now in the top 2% of the scientists of the world. Where do we get this ranking? And how do we cheat this ranking? At the end of the day, we can game the system. It is just a matter of analyzing how it's done. For example, you have very good veterinary medicine faculty here, biological sciences. It takes one good publication for a 5-year work in biological sciences. As compared to me in public health and global health, I can produce 3 papers in a week because I develop a network globally and my publication is well networked. How do we then get to publish with Lancet without paying a single cent? So those are the things that you have to know. And how to, I saw your video that you have, there was something on H-index. How do you play with H-index without getting you too much burden because you're doing a lot of teaching? That is the complaint of many universities all over the world. It's mostly teaching and we don't have much time to do research. So how do we get all these publications that it will get into the Web of Science index, PubMed, Medline for the ones in health, and Scopus? So do you know that even commentaries can be cited? So if you produce 100 commentaries within the number of words, it will get cited and you will get all the citations. And remember that the context of all of this is all business. Scopus is not a foundation. It's a company owned by Elsevier. Web of Science is another company. Appleton is part of all of these companies. BMC Nature is a $16 billion company. And that all your APCs go to the CEO. Don't tell my bosses about it. And you will probably ask, do editors-in-chief get paid? Why do your reviewers not get paid? You do a lot of work. Yes, editors get as much as $200,000 to $1 million as editor-in-chief, if you are not aware of it. But how to become an editor-in-chief? Then you have to show that you are a good scientist and researcher. So you will just don't declare that you're an editor-in-chief receiving $100,000, or else the officers will catch you. But these are the things that I'm going to teach on how we navigate all of this. And why is H-index very important for now? Why is the ranking very important? For example, why are all the universities in New Zealand in the top ranked? Why is it always Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, where the High Commissioner studied? They're always at the top. And what is the purpose of being at the top always? So there are a number of reasons. You have to be Harvard, Oxford, these universities have to maintain their high rank is because professors are becoming very expensive. So therefore, they have to get all the paying students all over the world. And who are they? Mostly they are from China. I work in China for the University of Liverpool for 5 years, and India. So that's a major, these are the major sources of countries. So what they do is they have long-term strategies. They will provide a full scholarship to the smartest in the world, thinking that this person will donate 100 to 200 million US dollars in the future. So they have long-term investments. Of course, the framework of your organization, of your university is different because it's a public university. So that's one. So the investment, the return of investment for these scholarships would come back later on. And so that's why the School of Public Health is named after, if you would notice, most of the universities all over the world are named after rich people. From Vanderbilt University, from Harvard, you know that Harvard is the name of a person, and to all these top universities of the world. So this is the way you will think of your strategies that is hinged on research. The other thing is, if you are scientists and researchers, your teaching will be research-led and research-based. These are two totally different things, but they are interrelated. And so therefore, we are not just copying the things that we read. We are mentoring and teaching our students based on what we do. That's why it's called research-led teaching or research-based teaching. So that is another thing. Now, infrastructure-wise, I was talking to your Vice Chancellor that there are many ways to improve the infrastructure of the university through research. You just have to be very good with grant writing. For example, the latest news now is that the Gates Foundation donated 100 million US dollars to University of Global Health Equity. This university is new. It was established by Paul Farmer in Rwanda, and now it's getting all the money that it wants based on its network. So that's why it is also very important that you network with international organizations, you attend conferences. Of course, there's investment on that. For example, Makerere University in Uganda has a partnership with Karolinska, which produced 50 PhD students, graduates, from among the faculty members. So it's just a matter of having a memorandum of agreement. Maybe we will try to encourage PhD students in New Zealand. New Zealand has very, very good universities. And the other thing is why in Asia, the top universities are in the richer countries. It's quite obvious. For example, National University of Singapore, all the University of Singapore, they use a lot of money to invest on research. And so when you have government money, therefore, you are able to partner with the top universities. So I hope this is not recorded. For example, National University of Singapore is the top university in Asia because of the money that they have. Of money on research, not only in research, by getting the best talents of the world. So what do? They invited, for example, Harvard to set up the School of Public Health, but the term of agreement was not very good. So they ended up having a relationship with the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, where many of our faculty members would go to NUS, and that's a lot of money or contract. And that's the same thing with the strategies with the University of Liverpool. Remember, for many of you who graduated from British universities, it used to be £1,000 only for the tuition. Because the government funding has gone down, universities now had to change their strategies. So what were they? Open it up to open universities, meaning have online programs. That's what University of Liverpool did. We had 5,000 MBA students. With our programs, with the Master of Public Health, we had 1,000 MPH students. I'm now teaching in the online programs of London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. Most of our students are working with the World Health Organization. Remember, they do online because they don't want to leave their lucrative jobs. So you have target audiences for all of this, and that is extra income for the university. The third strategy was to get campuses outside UK so that all the students after 2 years would go to that university. So we have 25,000, University of Liverpool, where I worked for 10 years, have 25,000 students in China. And half of it would go to the UK, and we will still pay the royalty to the university. And you know how much a vice chancellor earns in the US, the highest paid vice chancellor? That's $5 million in a year. So better work for that position. I'm trying to encourage you because I know how we work as faculty members, as universities. But it doesn't mean that you have to leave the country, because through research, you can rake in all the grants that you have as long as you are good with scientific publications, with grant writing. In fact, in global health and public health, which are my domain areas, we work a lot on publications in the developing world. So if most of the publications of these top universities are from the developing world, why are our scientific articles done by universities outside the developing world? Why have you noticed that tropical institutes are not in the tropics? You have the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. It's in London, it's a cold country. You have the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine. It's not in the tropics. You have the Swiss Tropical Institute. It's in Switzerland. You have the Royal Tropical Institute. It's in Amsterdam. You have Tulane, you have Harvard. They are not in the tropics. So instead of them doing research on tropical diseases here in Sri Lanka, why don't you do it yourselves? Why don't you publish all the books that these universities publish instead of them? They don't see malaria. They don't see dengue, but yet they are the ones publishing. Is there something wrong with the way we do our work in the tropical regions? So this has been my challenge to many countries in Africa and Asia, where all the publications would come from these big universities. And all they say is because they have the technology, they have the knowledge, and they have the scholarships. We go there because we want to learn. But eventually, we have to bring in these technologies and knowledge because we are doing research of our own environment, of our own people. So I don't want to see, when I'm a medical student, seeing book chapters or books written by American authors or Western authors, when in fact schistosomiasis are in these places. So that's a challenge that I want you to carry after this, after the workshop, that eventually we have to do something with the way we look at research. So most of the Nobel Prizes in medicine and physiology are not from the tropics, even those who won for malaria. They are from these Western countries. When in fact, every day that we see patients at the hospital, they are human beings, but these are the valuable data that we can write about. The only thing is, we don't write about it. We don't research because we don't have probably the motivation, or maybe there's lack of through research methods many times, from bachelor's to your master's to your PhD. So there's no reason for you not to do research, right? So one of the things that if you want to improve your infrastructure is to writing grants and through research. So eventually, if you can come up with big grants, the big grant would carry the buildings, the infrastructure, the machineries. If you're in engineering, eventually it will be donated to the university. So these are the strategies of many universities. And I've been telling the Vice Chancellor that there are these big grantors of big substantial amount of money, where they provide a lot of money, for example, for virology research, where the younger faculty members who are here, when you become the administrators of the university, you have to use your international network as your way to bring your university up. Because if we can now see, not only the rich countries are going higher in the ranking of universities, you have Vietnam, you have Kazakhstan, you have the Philippines, Indonesia. Their universities are going higher and higher because as you produce more research, the donors will just go to you. And that's the beauty of getting your name up there. So what will be the different strategies? Get your H index higher, have multiple authors. We will play the game, their game. So instead of just producing one paper, produce many commentaries and perspectives. And I have a good news for those in public health and global health. I will be accommodating many of your papers in my 2 journals so that we can get all your names up. And if you click on the University of Peradeniya on H-Index, all your publications will come up. And that's the same thing with Scopus. Remember that analytics now is very, very strong. And these are the ones that feed to the ranking of universities, whether it's QS ranking or whatever rankings that you have. You have to be aware of all of this, because if you're not aware, you will not know how to play the game of the system. At the end of the day, I told you it's just an analytic. These are all analytics companies. So just get all these rankings and your publications up. Do not publish in predatory journals. That's for sure, because you're just wasting your time. If you would notice papers with Lancet, you can do that. I have been doing a lot of research initiatives in Africa. We were very successful in getting undergraduate students publishing 100 papers in Scopus journals before they finished undergrad. They can produce more papers than some of you. We have been very successful with that. So that's why we're trying to play this initiative. And my other mission, on Wednesday and Thursday, I will be running the Global Health Emerging Leaders Program, which is a 2-day program. I think many of you will be attending. It will be on empowering young students and young faculty members on global health. And this being run in many different countries. And hopefully, I understand that the university is a member of consortium of universities in global health, that eventually you'll offer a Master of Science in Global Health or a Bachelor of Science in Global Health. So I will be here the coming 3 days or 4 days, and I'll be working with you on research strategies and in global health. And eventually I'll be working with the university on your bigger strategies in research, so that in the future, the university will become one of the best in the region. So congratulations and good luck to your International Week. And I hope I inspired you today on how to become one of the best universities in the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So could you please come forward for another few minutes? I also would like to invite His Excellency Michael Appleton to come forward. We have arranged a small souvenir for you. I would like to invite Professor Don Eliseo Lucero. Sir, could you please come forward? Thank you. As I said earlier, internationalization has become a key component in the global higher education, and Sri Lankan universities must reposition its international profile. International Relations Office of University of Peradeniya was established in 2012 with the purpose of promoting international engagement of the University of Peradeniya through facilitating international academic exchange programs and providing resources, platforms, and scholarly exchange via improving institutional capacity building. Who else would be better to explain about the internationalization of Sri Lankan universities than the founding director of the International Relations Office of University of Peradeniya? I would like to invite Dr. Nanda Gunawardhana, the founding director of the International Relations Office of University of Peradeniya, currently the Director of Research and International Affairs of Sri Lanka Technological Campus, to deliver the speech.
His Excellency Michael Appleton, New Zealand High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Professor M.D. Lamavansa, Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Terence Majudit, Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University, Professor Prisno, our guest speaker, and my good friend Neil Allis, the Director of the International Relations Office, Deans, Directors, academics, students, ladies and gentlemen. Very good morning to you all. At the outset, I would like to thank Professor Neil Allis and his team for inviting me to give this speech, because I am going to talk today as the outsider. Until 2018, I worked as the director, 2012 to 2018, I worked as the director of the center. Now I see this internationalization, especially internationalization of University of Peradeniya, as an outsider, and also as an alumni, and also as a good wisher. So I thought to give my honest opinion about the program that we are having at University of Peradeniya and our strategies, because now I work as the director of non-state universities, where I have liberty and luxury to work very quickly and efficiently compared to the state universities. Now, when it comes to internationalization, or simply earlier we used the term multinationalization or globalization, we all identified this as a very key aspect. All our top officials, including vice chancellors, deans, and other relative officers, know that. Now, this is kind of very indispensable component in all university systems. So Professor Prisno made my job much easier, explaining the reality and part of the game of this process. So when it comes to university system, if you think about HR, human resources, we can divide our university system into three main components. Number one, of course, students, those we cater to develop their careers. And the most important component is, I think, we all, academics and also non-academics. If you want to transform our university to international systems, internationalizations, I think we have to empower all these three entities, three groups. So for that, what we have to do is, we have to understand, embrace, and integrate diverse cultures, good practices, good policies to our system. I think that is the key. So I will start with students. why we are doing internationalization, ranking, and all this stuff? We want to produce a well-rounded undergraduate, graduate, who can work anywhere in the world. That is the whole idea. For that, I think as academics, we have to play a very important role in different ways. To produce a student, those who can work anywhere in the world, as highlighted by former Stanford Dean in the engineering college, we have to teach different ways. We have to provide unseen job skills, unseen job opportunities, unseen some practices during this 3 to 4 year, maybe in medical 5-year period. I think that is the key. Now, one of the main important thing, like universities like Peradeniya, we have to adapt very good teaching and learning practices. Before COVID, I think we all know, we all have done physical deliveries. Now, when it comes to internationalization, what we can do with the new development, especially after the COVID. Now, in non-state universities, we have liberty to get the services from international scholars, and also we can get international students. But I think as a university system, we have to practice this for state universities. Now, Professor Prisno very correctly pointed out, this is kind of a global thing. Now, when we teach with the newest technology, now we have Zoom, everybody know, right? Everybody can understand, and all other advanced techniques. We can do a kind of collaborative teaching with the support of international staff. Now, you can teach maybe 1 or 2 lectures, not the entire course. I don't think we have enough money to pay for you. So you can teach. And in fact, in vice versa, as you correctly pointed out, like medicine topics, the best teachers, I think, in Sri Lankan teachers, they can take some courses in your university. They can teach. That is called collaborative teaching and learning process. I think that is real internationalization. The second one is actually, when it comes to internationalization, that is the recognition. Who is going to recognize our programs? Okay? Who? That is different bodies, more or less quality assurance and accreditation. So when you accredit your program, everybody can understand that is kind of very benchmark standard program. So to my understanding, I might be not correct. We have engineering faculty, they have done the accreditation. I think according to Washington Accords, I think as Professor Lama mentioned, other faculties also can do the accreditation. I think that is the kind of recognition that we want for the internationalization. The third one, actually, it's very interesting. I think Peradeniya engineering faculty members, I think, aware of that. I think other members also. Technology-enabled active learning with a collaborative support. Now, last 2 weeks, I was in Europe. So I have seen that trend, especially because we are thinking about we don't have enough lab facilities, we don't have enough resources. What we can do is, I went to a medical faculty in one of the big Romanian universities. They have very good facilities. I think with the computer support, AI, VI systems. Now we don't want to think about models. So without opening your heart with the virtual reality, you can give that kind of experience, at least for our students, with the support of international collaborations. Those are the real key things that we think about internationalization. Then from a student's point of view, we can help them to groom themselves by helping them to participate in international workshops. That's what we are doing right now. International collaborations, international publications, international research, and so on. Now, One of the key things when we think about internationalization, that is competencies. So in University of Peradeniya, our students, I think, very good at communication skills, simple, efficient communication skills. And also, I think they have passion to do other activities. I think in that way, we can produce very well qualified student for global market. Now, the most important thing I want to discuss during my short speech, staff. As Professor Prisno mentioned, that is the key for any kind of ranking. Times higher education, QS, Peradeniya is the #1 in both because of our staff and quality research. We allocate, basically they allocate around the 60% mark for research impact and related things, citations. Now, according to very recent publication by the Stanford University, 9 of our staff members are in top 2%. So I have done the groundwork. How they have achieved, why not others? Out of 9, 8 or 7 or 8, they have very strong international collaborations, especially in the field of health science and medicines. What they have done, they have worked very closely with one of the top-notch international scholar. Some they just, I think, provide data and did little analysis, right? They became top 2%. The alarming thing in internationalization and the quality of our research is the participation of young staff members. Out of 9, 7 or 6, I guess, are their latter part of their academic career. Only 2 or 3, less than, I think, 45 to 50 years. I think that is alarming. Now, the good thing for University of Peradeniya, we can do multidisciplinary research because we have 9 faculties located in same place. I think we have to improve in that area. And also, one of the main thing actually utilization of international labs. So when COVID hit in early 2019, as a private university, we have partnered with some good universities in India without payment. They agreed to do digital simulations, especially engineering, and all the digital stuff, use their laboratories. So I think in Peradeniya, we can improve in that area. The other thing actually is very interesting is we are in tropics. So health science, agriculture, I think we can develop our program in one of the best in the world without any doubt. Now, the other thing actually, very important thing that I want to highlight is actually quality of our non-academic staff members, so administrative staff members. Now, when it comes to international grants, mobility, and other related things, we need to get support from them. So we have to empower and train them to adhere or adapt international guideline, policies, and procedures, if possible. I don't know in this context. But in SLTC, I instruct them to do that. Otherwise, they will next day fire. So that is the policy that we can do. So I think we got very recently European grant to empower them. I think they are now very much aware of the international policies, strategies, and techniques to support our staff and students. Now, one of the main things that I want to highlight as outsider, okay, and also Peradeniya kind of alumni. When it comes to the largest university, we are no longer the largest university in Sri Lanka. That is Sri Jayawardhanapura when it comes to number of students. But we have, why it happened, I'm not going to elaborate that, but I think we can retake that position in different ways. The second alarming point is actually contribution of our young staff members to research and international activities. So I have I'm not going to elaborate that, but I think we have to have a very good solid mechanism to promote them. That is very important. The third one, actually, financial barriers that we are having, but as other speakers mentioned, in Sri Lanka with the economic crisis, the funding agencies such as NSF, NRC, and other organizations, they don't have money. Funds dried up. So we have to tap international grants. That is the key. Now, one of the main important thing in University of Peradeniya, I have no doubt, absolutely no doubt about this. We have the best teaching and research staff in Sri Lanka. So we have to keep them. That is the challenge. Now, with the economic crisis, some of my friends, especially like non-state universities, 10 to 15%, they want to go abroad. When one guy gave a party, I asked, it's very sad for me. Them is extremely difficult, not like government universities. They think, unfortunately, getting visa to top country, especially 5 countries I'm not going to name, is the biggest achievement that they are getting in their life, and giving a party to their friends. So I think we have to change that. We have to change that. Otherwise, we can think about internationalization, international policies, and other things. But we can, without proper human, we cannot do that. That is very important. The second one, actually, I want to highlight is the mindset. Now, one of my friend in some other university mentioned about green university. This classical example. I asked, what do you mean by that? Painting green color, putting some grass or trees. They think that is green university. Absolutely not. The concept of green university actually plant green seed in their community, in their staff members, in their student, teach green concept, develop the green people. Once they graduate, they will practice those green concepts. That is the concept of green university. I don't want to argue with them, but that is the reality. Now, when it comes to internationalization, that is the key topic today, International Week. What does that mean? Develop grants, get research, work with international scholars. Is that to me? No. To me, that is not. Plant international seed in our students' staff mind. That is the seed. So if we can do that, we can develop international culture in University of Peradeniya. I think after 75 years, Professor Neelalas, his team and the management took a very, very good decision. This is the first time we consciously allocate 1 week for the internationalization, planting the seed of our minds to emphasize the importance of internationalization. I think that is very important. With that note, I would like to congratulate the team for taking this step, and we will support whatever that we can do to succeed this journey. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Professor C.N.R.A. Alas, Director, International Relations Office of University of Peradeniya, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everybody. The chief guest, His Excellency Michael Appleton, the New Zealand High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, the Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, all the deans of the faculties, directors of all the postgraduate institutes and the centers, guest speaker, Professor Don Eliseo, guest speaker, Dr. Nanda Gunawardhana, Miss Sarah Tokas from Alliance, Professor Steve, who is connecting via Zoom from Connecticut University, head of the departments, my management committee members, all the distinguished guests. With a great pleasure, I would like to propose vote of thanks of this occasion. Actually, first of all, I would like to convey my sincere gratitude to the chief guest, His Excellency Michael Appleton, the New Zealand High Commissioner to Sri Lanka. Actually, he came all the way from Colombo to grace this event, despite his busy schedule, and he has to leave to participate several meetings in Colombo. So then I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, for the advice and the guidance given to me to hold this event successfully. Deputy Vice Chancellor, actually, I would like to thank him for his participation for this event and all the support given to me to make this event success. Then guest speaker, Don Eliseo, sir, thank you very much for came all the way from New York, yes, to grace this event, and your participation is really valuable to us. Guest speaker Nanda Gunawardhana, thank you very much for accepting our invitation, and thank you very much for your speech given on internationalization of universities. Then Miss C.N.R.A. from Alliance, actually, thank you very much for participate for this event, and thank you very much for actually now we are start our collaborations with one of our head of the departments from classical language department. So we hopefully we can finish this collaboration soon. Anyway, so Professor Steve, thank you very much for connecting with us with this. I mean, for our event via Zoom platform. And I must thank Dr. Doji. He will participate, actually connect our program from this evening. Unfortunately, he couldn't make this event due to a flight delay. And then I would like to pay my actually sincere gratitude to dancing team. Actually, so I couldn't find out any precise word in this word to thank them for their wonderful and free service given to us. And then and I would like to thank Dr. Prabhat Ekanayake, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts. Actually, he's the one who connected us with this dancing team. Thank you very much, sir. And Dr. Damayanti, thank you very much for connecting us with the guest speaker, Professor Don and Dr. Doji. And Professor Shamin, thank you very much for arranging this communication with Professor Steve. So then I would like to thank Professor Ramani, then Dr. Ruanda and Dr. Janaka. Thank you very much for your wonderful advice given to us. I thank you, the curator, Mr. Asanta Bandara, and his team for the wonderful flower arrangement that they have done for this occasion. Acting PRO, Mr. Mahesh, thank you for your massive support given to us, and all the technical officers of camera team, thank you for your great supports given to us. Thank you very much. And thank you, my MC members, for your advices. And finally, I would like to thank Miss Kallahari at IIT Center, and my own C.N.R.A team, Miss Shamali, Mr. Sanaka, Mr. Shamira, for the massive work that they have handled. And Miss Shamali, you are the main pillar of this team, and more or less, actually, she like an advisor rather than a project manager. And thank you for your wonderful work. And I thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Before winding up, we have an important occasion. This is signing the MOU with the University of Connecticut, United States of America, in order to strengthen the academic collaborations between the two universities. I would like to invite Professor Shamin Jinadasa to coordinate the event.
Thank you, Prof. Neil. So I would like to just brief the collaboration with the University of Connecticut and University of Peradeniya. It was started actually some time back, like 1980s, and we had signed the MOU during Dr. Nanda Gunawardhana's time, and now it's going to renew. So we have got all the Prof. Neil has got massive work on the approvals and it's ready to sign. Professor Steve Senshul from University of Connecticut, he has joined via Zoom. To proceed with, we'll request our Vice Chancellor to sign first, and to Prof. Steve to speak few words from the Yukon side. So Prof. Steve, whether we will sign first or we will ask Prof. Steve to say a few words first. Yeah, so may I invite Prof. Steve Senshul to say a few words before we sign the MOU?
Thank you very much, Shamin. I first want to acknowledge the important role of the VC, Professor Lamavansa, and the honored guests, the international guests at this auspicious meeting, the eminent faculty and staff, and perhaps there's a student or two sitting around. It's a great pleasure for me to represent the Vice President for Health Affairs, who would ordinarily be the signator of this MOU, or Memorandum of Agreement. Unfortunately, he's traveling at the moment, not so far from you, and unable to get to Zoom. He's currently in the Middle East, but as soon as he gets back, he will be the person signing the Memorandum of Understanding. However, I've had a not so brief relationship with the University of Peradeniya. I've had the opportunity of working over the course of 4 decades and what I think is 3 generations of faculty. And I just want to briefly mention those generations to you. The key was Professor Herbert Aponso, way ahead of his time, recognizing that the problems that needed to be solved in the Mahaveli and the new development of the Mahaveli, as well as the wet zone, had to be interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary. Multiple people working together, like Professor Hevivitarna from economics and Professor Malcolm Fernando from the Department of Community Medicine. And that ability to bring together people for solving problems locally was the key to the development of both of the health social sciences at the University of Peradeniya. The second generation was people like Professor Kalinga da Silva, Professor Amada Siddhi da Silva, Professor C.V. Yoganathan from agriculture, the first two from the Department of Sociology, trained by Professor Aponso and bringing together continuity for further development of projects, which I'll mention in just a moment. And then the next generation included Professor Rohana Chandrajit, Shamin Jinadasa, Nishanta Nanayakara, and others working in a transdisciplinary approach to CKDU, or chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology. So that ability to bring together these multidisciplinary individuals leading their particular fields in an effort to solve the complex problems of Sri Lanka was, for me, a wonderful educational experience. And so for my colleagues, over the time, we've developed joint research. We've been able to fund exchange programs. We've developed health social sciences supported by the European Union. We've worked on youth and sexual risk in Sri Lanka. As a team, we were on a 3-week retreat in Bellagio on Lake Como at the Rockefeller Mansion. And then, fortunately, with colleagues on our side, as well as at Peradeniya, we were able to develop a research project looking at the continuity, at the progression of chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology, with the idea that we could identify the factors associated with relatively more rapid and less rapid approach. As a result, this has been one of the highlights of my academic and research career. I can't thank you enough. I've been in that room many times. I've been on the campus, and as other speakers have said, a most beautiful campus. I've had the pleasure and kindness of many different faculty over the years. And this MOU, which will start in 2023 and continue at least till 2028, represents the continued collaboration and mutual exchange of knowledge and of warm human relationships that are necessary to contribute to the research, both in the United States and to Sri Lanka. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I look forward to the Vice Chancellor's signature and to our Vice President, Daniel Wiener. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Steve. So may I invite our Vice Chancellor, Professor Lamavans, also to tell a few words.
Thank you very much, Shamin. Professor Stephen Shensol, on behalf of the university, and I really appreciate your words and also sharing your experiences of working with the University of Peradeniya. The names that you mentioned, starting from Professor Afonso, Malcolm Fernando, and the lot, they are highly venerated academics of this university. And some are still around, and Professor Herbert Afonso, 90 plus, and he cannot attend functions of this nature. And you will be happy to hear that academic syndicate of this university, the Senate, and the governing council of the university, at the beginning of this year, unanimously decided to honor him with a honorary doctorate, DLitt, and he was here to receive that at our convocation. So thank you very much for helping and working with the University of Peradeniya over the years. I'm sure the MOU will be another impetus for us to go forward and achieve our ambitious goals. Thank you very much, Steve, once again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe it's a sign for the MOU. It's the time, yeah. So it has been 40 years of collaboration. This was started, and we wish that this collaboration will go for not only for 40 years, maybe 100 years. So thank you very much who have supported for the whole have supported program during past this period, and also we would like to continue this work in coming years, which I was with working with Prof. Steve and the team recently, and we'll continue the work with the whole University of Peradeniya in future. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for doing all the background work and your interest.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to see the signature. We'll have that back to you, I think, within a week. And although I may not be around for that 100th year, I look forward to the continuity, and would like to add just one other thing that comes from that 4-decade experience, and that is that the relationships internationally have to proceed by people really appreciating, liking, and establishing close relationships and bonds. And I have to say that after a year of both Shamin Janadasa and Krishna Tilakaratna from the dental school being with us, our bonds with Sri Lanka, and its people have never been stronger. So thank you all for that process and for those kind relationships and for Krishna's Kiribat.
Thank you very much, sir. Also, we would like to take the opportunity to sign the MOU with IIT Guwahati, India, in this special occasion. And I would like to invite Dr. Panduka Neluwala and Dr. Pramila Gamage to coordinate the occasion. Thank you, sir. With that, we have reached the end of the session. Let us all rise for the national anthem.
Sri Lanka Mata, Upper Sri Lanka, Namo, 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 Namo Mata. Sundara Siri Parini, Surandi Ati Somamana Lanka. Ranya Nalaya Nikamal Valaturu Diri Jaya Muniya Ranya. Apahata Sapasiri Sata Sadhana, Jivana Yema. Dili Ganunana Apavati Puja, Namo Namo Mata. Upper Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata. Ubade Apavidya, Ubamaya Apasatya, Ubade Apashanti, Apahada Tulabhakti. Apa aloke, apa anuprani, apa jivana de, apa muktiya obade, nava jivana demine, nitida apa kubudu karan mata. Nanda Vidya Vada Vandina Ragena Yanu Nanda Jaya Mudikara. Eka Mamata Gedaru Kala Davina, Yamu Yamu Vinopama. Prema Vada Samarena Durala, Namo Namo Mata. Upper Sri Lanka, Namo 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 Mata.
We are marking the end of the inauguration ceremony. Thank you very much for all the deans, heads of the departments, and all the participants for your valuable time. And may you have a wonderful day. Thank you.